r/AskReddit. Serious. Late night hikers. What is the creepiest thing you have seen while hiking? Serious replies only. It was around midnight in a clearing for picnics in a large park that lots of people hike through. Pitch black. No one around. I was with my boyfriend at the time. We got pretty frisky at one of the picnic tables. And I'm facing a river which is sort of illuminated from the moonlight. He's facing the solid black tree line. We are trying to have a good time. And he becomes completely still. And in a low voice says, "There's a man coming towards us." I turn my head, see only a white t-shirt approaching us at a brisk walking pace from the trees, and that's all I needed to see. I ran, knowing my boyfriend would catch up. He did. I was never down for midnight forest stuff again. Haha. Edit. The man in the white shirt probably got within 25 feet of us by the time I had my stuff together enough to bolt. Still freaks me out. He said nothing, just walked very fast towards us. Neither of us looked back. I go out for walks very late at night fairly often, so I've seen a few things. The creepiest though, happened about 2 months ago. I left the house around 1:30 AM, and it started off as a normal walk. I wandered around the town till about 2 AM, when I decided to go home. I was walking back the route I had came, when I noticed a black van meander down the street. Didn't really pay too much attention to it though, at first. I did pay attention though, when I saw it slowly drive by me for a second time. I wasn't entirely sure it was the same van though, so I just continued walking, but this time I kept an eye out. And lo and freaking behold, about 10 minutes later, the same damn black van came down the street again. This time I knew for sure, because it didn't have license plates. Now I was fairly scared, so I picked my pace up a little bit. When the van came around again this time, it stopped in the middle of the road a few houses in front of me. I stopped, turned around, and booked it back in the other direction. I made a few turns onto different roads, and then ran right into someone's yard. I waited behind their fence, and the same freaking van came down the street. I assumed that, when they couldn't find me, they finally decided to drive off. But I waited in that yard for about 20 minutes, before I ran back to my house and practically threw myself through my bedroom window. It was in the summer around dusk, and I was camping at a remote campground with my dad. There was a lake right next to the grounds, and my dad and I would trailblaze through the forest right next to the lake, because if you went far enough there was a really pretty waterfall. A few strange things happened on this hike. We found a slash pile that had a little kid's shoe on top. When we came to a small clearing, my dad had to take a leak, so he faced one side of the clearing and I faced the other, and we both clearly heard a child say, "I'm over here." My dad thought it was me, and when he realized it wasn't, we spent half an hour looking for someone, but we found nobody. After that, we gave up on going to the waterfall and started to make our way back to camp, but there were clear sounds of something following us, twigs snapping, bushes shaking. We haven't been camping there since. Not on a trail, but walking my dog late at night. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. My dog rang her bell and I begrudgingly got up to take her outside. When she wants to pee in the middle of the night I don't take her very far, just in our side yard. I took a flashlight with me in case she decided to poo, so I could pick it up. I'm standing there waiting for her to do her thing. She is doing the doggy walk in a circle thing. Then all of a sudden the dog gets spooked and whips around. Out of the corner of my eye I see this chick just standing there. I didn't see her walk up. I didn't hear her walk up. I just see her standing there super still. Based on her position, she had to have come from between my house and my neighbor's house. Which is odd, because behind our house is back up to a green belt. It is probably 40 degrees outside and this lady, about 20, is in super short shorts and a t-shirt. I looked at her, told her she scared me, and she mumbled something like, "Nice night, what are you up to?" Standing there holding the leash with my dog, I said, "I'm walking my dog." Then she said, Cool, do you know how to get into my house?" I locked myself out. Pointing to my neighbor's house. Now, I'm a good American. I know my neighbors, and this wasn't my neighbor, who is a single 30-year-old female. She hangs out with my wife, so I know her really well. So I asked her, "That house?" Pointing directly at my neighbor's house. She nodded. I said, "You don't live there. I know who lives there." She just scoffed and wandered her way into my backyard. I followed her and said, "What the hell are you doing?" She then took off running, scaled my fence, which item of note, it isn't an easy fence to scale. It is a deer fence. It is a see-through fence that goes up 3 feet with cattle gate. Then the top of the fence is stainless steel wire that runs horizontally. It is the type of thing that, if you weren't expecting it, you'd easily trip over as it is extremely hard to see, and not very common. Anyways, she scales the fence, and ran away into the green belt. I always have a pocket knife on me, and was fortunate enough to have my, unfortunately, useless dog. So I looked around my house, neighbor's house for other people, shined my light in the green belt, and nothing. I have no idea how she wound up back there, what she was doing, what she intended to do, but she scared the ever-living crap out of me. I go hiking in the woods that permeate my town, sometimes so late that I get to see the sun rise out there. The strangest thing I ever saw was what I could only describe as a shanty town was built up seemingly overnight deep into the woods. Simple little hovels made of scrap metal and bed sheets and a small fire pit that someone had made out of an old tire, with the fire still burning. But that wasn't the weird part. The weird part was that this was well past midnight when I found this place, and it was quiet as a grave. There was no one there. Someone made the trouble of getting a fire going and then left it. From the look of it, this place could hold about a dozen or so people, and yet there was nothing there but the fire they abandoned and whatever possessions they had left in the shanties. While it did not happen during the hike, rather the camping, it was still the creepiest thing I've experienced out there. Was working at a summer camp for kids and we went on an overpass outing. Had a cougar circle our camp from around 11 PM to roughly 5 AM. It was crying out, hoping one of us would separate from the group. I stayed up all night with bear spray and a hatchet, keeping an eye on it with the other staff. I drove to a park to go hiking at night in the mountains. So safe I know, and I hadn't even turned off my car and I already feel like I'm being watched. There weren't any cars around, so I thought maybe it was just me being paranoid for some reason. But for some reason I look to my right and I see this weird looking humanoid shape on top of the little bump hill about 50 feet away. At first I thought it was a weirdly shaped tree, until I saw the arms move, no wind at all. So now I know there's a person staring at my car trying not to move, for what I assume is for me to get out of my car and leave to a more secluded area as we were next to the road. Of course I left. I don't go hiking at night in that particular park anymore. Not hiking so much as car camping, but we were way the heck out there in the middle of nowhere on Bureau of Land Management land in Colorado. We drove for an hour and a half down a Forest Service road and didn't see another soul. You could see headlights and hear cars from miles away from our campsite. It's not like somebody could have snuck up unnoticed. We had 3 cars with us and 8 people. Just got done eating dinner, cleaned up. It was getting dark, so we went back to the cars real quick before hitting our tents for the night. Somebody had slashed the front right tire on each of the 3 cars with what appeared to be a box cutter. Everyone thought it was a prank, but it became very apparent very quickly that it wasn't. All of us were beyond spooked, like panicking, scary to watch spooked. We all had spares, and one dude had a gun, so we threw on our donuts while that guy literally guarded us and got the hell out of there. I still have nightmares about it sometimes. Just knowing there was some person probably watching us, maybe wanting to harm us, makes me feel physically ill to this day. Edit. Well, this blew up. To answer some questions. This was south of Gypsum, and it was 100% not private land. This was a marked Forest Service road in an area with dispersed camping I had visited several times before. There were 3 guys and 5 girls. The guys were all together cooking the whole time leading up to us discovering the tires being slashed. These people are my best friends and this would be wildly uncharacteristic of any of them. For those wondering how we didn't hear it, our cars were parked around 30 yards away from our fire and tents, and a car coming down a road is easy to pick out from the sounds of nature. A gentle hissing gets lost in the wind. We heard it as soon as we started walking up. The tires were slashed on the exact same spot on the sidewall. It would be almost impossible for something on the road to puncture the tires like that. Also, there was no cell service. We called the cops and ranger as soon as we got back to the highway, told them exactly what road we were on, and gave them coordinates, but there isn't a lot for them to do. Cop told us it was good we were packing, and to be careful out there. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for more edit videos like this. Don't forget to smash that like button, and stay crispy guys.